The last chapter we're going to do today is framing questions. Here, what are questions? We all know. Um, the idea of framing questions, we have done various type of sentences. One among them was interrogative sentence. So, a question, what is a question? A question is an interrogative sentence. It either confirms a statement or it asks for information. What we usually know about interrogative sentences, they demand a particular information. They ask for information. Sometimes it also confirms a statement. So, as I told you, rhetorical questions don't demand an answer, they confirm a particular statement. Now, questions can be classified or can be classed into two broad categories. One is a closed question. Second, open questions. Closed questions, the answers are usually yes or no type, and in open questions, WH type. It always starts with the WH word. So, closed questions are those which confirm an information by saying either yes or no. Like, do you know him? Yes, I know him. Or no, I do not know him. Open questions, those which ask information by using WH words such as who, what, where, when, how, etc. Now, for example, how do you know him? Example, how. So, how the word HW is used here. So, how do you know him? Question can be framed, cannot be framed. That's something you have to understand. That questions cannot be framed without helping verbs. We all have done main verbs, auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary is also called helping verbs. So, do you know him? Do is the helping verb here. How do you know him? Again, do in that case. See, it begins. Do you know him? It begins with the do auxiliary, or it comes after also. The placement or the order of placement, it depends. And how do you know him? So, do comes after how, because WH type question. When, see, without the WH, do comes in front. Do you know him? Then, what are verbs? We all know there are two kinds of verbs. We have the main verbs, or which is also called the principal verb. Auxiliary verb is also called helping verbs. Now, example, do, did, done. Main verb, do, did, done. I do this job. Here, do in this sentence is used as the main verb. I do this job. Do is used as the main verb in that particular sentence. Now, auxiliary verb or helping verb, do, did. See, there's no done there. So, only two forms. And principal verb, do, did, done. Three forms are there. In the auxiliary verb, only do and did. See, I do not do this job. I do not do. The first do, which is underlined, that is an auxiliary verb here. Okay? According to the use of those particular words in the sentences, we understand what function they are playing, and according to that, we mark them, we identify them. So, in the first case, I do this job, their do is used as the main verb. Here, I do not do this job. Here, in that, the first do, which has been marked, is used as an auxiliary. So, one more thing which I think so you have noticed is the main verb, do, did, done, three forms are there, and the auxiliary only two forms are there. Now, auxiliary to has two types. First we did verbs which are two types, main verb or principal verb and auxiliary or helping verbs. Now, we will subdivide auxiliary. Auxiliary has two parts. There are primary auxiliary verbs and there are modal auxiliary verbs. Now, primary auxiliary helps the main verb to form tenses. what does a primary auxiliary do? It helps the main verb to form tenses and passive forms. So here the primary auxiliaries are be, do and have. Now see, I've made a table here where you will see the be has many forms. Be in the present is am, is, are. These are the forms of be in the present tense. As I told you, it helps to form tenses. And in the past we have was, were, past participle being. Now have, again we have and has as the present, and in the past we have had. There is nothing in the past participle form. Do in the same case, we see present we have do, does. In the past we have did, but there's nothing in the past participle. Now why is there no past participle form used? We know that do, does, do, did, done. So why is done not used as a primary auxiliary here? Because the reason is the verb done, which is another form of do, were. We know that if they ask you there are how many forms of do, then you have to say done. But is it used in the as an auxiliary? No. Why? The verb done, which is another form of do, verb, it cannot act as an auxiliary. Now the question is why? Because done is the past participle form of the root verb. What is the root verb? Do. And done is the past participle form of that. And the past participle form of any verb, they can only describe a completed action, and so it can only be used as the main verb because it depicts completed action. Therefore, it can only be used as the main verb and not as the auxiliary. To make things simpler, I have provided an example. Just look at it. See, they have already done their homework. In this sentence, we also know the form of the past participle. We have or has, whatever is needed according to the number of the subject. Here, they is a plural. They is a plural subject. So we have to take have done. So they have done. Here, they have already done. So in this case, we have, isn't it? So have becomes the auxiliary verb and done becomes the main verb. So that is how we cannot use done as an auxiliary. So they have already done their work. So AUX, that is auxiliary, have becomes an auxiliary and done is the main verb. Now that we have done what primary auxiliaries are. Now what are modal auxiliaries? Now modal auxiliaries, they forego, that is precede. That is precede means come before. They come before the main verb to add various meanings. The meanings can be futurity, that means something that depicts the future, that is futurity, or certainty, and obligation. What is an obligation? It's a duty or responsibility. It shows your duty and responsibility, shows your obligation. For example, we have can, the past tense of which is could, shall, the past tense of which is should, will, would, may, might. And others are must, ought to, used to, need, and dare. Now, one thing you must remember is only in the present indefinite, that is simple present, you can also say present indefinite, or past indefinite, or simple past tense, when the sentence is to be changed into the interrogative, when that kind of sentence where the tense is used in the simple present or simple past, and it has to be changed into the interrogative or negative, only then we use do, does, did. Okay? In other cases, auxiliary verbs are already present in the sentence itself. For example, you believe him. Do you believe him? See, do is used here. You do not believe him. First, I've changed it. I have changed that. I've used an interrogative sentence. So, and believe is in the present tense. So, do has been used here. Do you believe him? And next, I've introduced, and you do not. So there's a negative element here, not. So you do not believe him. So do has been added. In the second cases, as I said, the auxiliaries are already present. She has done it. So has is already there. So when I change into the interrogative, what do? I simply put the auxiliary in front of she. Has she done it? She has not done it. In the negative too, I've simply added has in front of not. She has not done it. In the previous case, I've used do in front of not. Now, how to form interrogative sentences? So, all the explanation of auxiliaries and different kinds of auxiliaries, this was the main function. How to use them while forming interrogative sentences. Now, WH word, that is why, then we have auxiliary verb, and not if it is a negative interrogative. In the first case, it's not a negative interrogative, so we don't use not there. Why do you use subject? Main verb is believe. Me is the object. Adverbial is noun. Why do you believe me now? Then, do you believe him now? Do again is the auxiliary verb here. Do you, subject, believe is main verb, object him, now adverbial. Why can't I do this job in this way? Why WH word? Can't is cannot, is the abbreviated version. Can't. I, subject, main verb, do this job, that is the object. What am I asking? Why can't I do what? This job. That is the object, and adverbial is in this way or in this manner. So this is how you form interrogative. The formation, form is shown here. Now, negative questions. Does not Ram come here daily? Now here, does not Ram come here daily? Here we see Ram is a subject. So in this case, the not precedes Ram. Does not Ram come here daily? Where subject is Ram, the noun. Ram is noun, which is subject. Here not precedes Ram in the case of negative questions. Negative interrogative, we may call that. In the second case, you see, does he not come here daily? Here, he is a pronoun. He is a subject, which is a pronoun, but the not here comes after the pronoun. So you have to understand this formation and keep that in mind. So subject, does not Ram. Here Ram is a noun, therefore it comes before, not comes before Ram, and the case of pronoun, not comes after the pronoun. Does he not come here daily? He not, so not comes after he. I've given 3 examples. Everybody knows him. Change it to a question. Who does not know him? That means I'm trying to express. I'm trying to see the first case, what was doing. I'm trying to confirm a statement. Isn't it? So what am I doing? I'm simply saying, who does not know him? That means I am saying, I wish to say everybody knows him, but I am saying it in a different way. That is what transformation is all about. What do? Through transformation, we learn to form sentences in various kinds of ways. Okay, so everybody knows him. That is a statement. I'm changing it into a question. Who does not know him? But that does not mean I'm asking who does not know. Who does not know? Just tell me who does not know. No, I'm just trying to emphasize the fact that everybody knows him. How am I trying to emphasize it? By asking a question. So it does not demand an answer. Who does not know? I shall take 2 hours to finish it. How long will you? Now, many people write, how long will I? Now, you can't ask yourself. That is stupid. So, how long will you take to finish this? Remember this very well. So, I've underlined you there. How long will you? I shall take 2 hours to finish it. How long will you take to finish it? Question mark. And do not forget to put a question mark at the end of an interrogative question. If you don't do that, the entire thing will be wrong. Even if you write it properly and if you punctuate it improperly, you will not get it right. He comes here thrice a week. How often? Thrice a week মানে কতবার আসে? So often. How often does he come here? To understand, he comes here thrice a week. You have to understand the answer. How often does he come? Thrice a week. So that should be my question. How often does he come here? When you're forming the questions, you have to understand what the question should be based on. That is it. So we finish the chapter here. We will start our online classes and then we'll discuss further. I'll ask you questions, we'll discuss further.